Politico writer rolling out his own Democrat shadow cabinet to respond to the Trump administration and fix the party's problem to speak plainly to Americans. So who's included? They're on your screen right now. Names like entrepreneur Mark Cuban, TV host Bill Nye, and comedians Jon Stewart and Nikki Glaser. Fox News contributor and senior writer for the Washington Examiner, Joe Concha, not on that list, but he does join me now. Joe, what the heck's the point of this fever dream?
Oh, Todd, I know it's only May, but this is by far the dumbest piece you will read all year. I mean, for starters, we already had a shadow cabinet running this country. That was called the Biden administration when we had a president whose brain turned applesauce, and apparently all these other people were running the auto pen. And that was just so, inept. But perhaps Bill Nye, the science guy, Nikki Glaser, Letitia James, who may be going to jail, those could be considered possible upgrades compared to what we just saw. But this is all media outlets like Politico have at this point because Donald Trump right now is soaring in the polls. Rasmussen, Todd, even shows that more people believe that the country is on the right track than the wrong track. That has never happened in the history of Rasmussen polling. More and more polls show Trump exceeding 50% approval. So, when you look at Biden's shadow government or this proposed shadow government, I don't understand the point because the current government right now, according to the people, is doing quite well on the economy, on the border, and all the issues that people care about most.
But, Joe, I think you actually hit on something really interesting. And it's this notion that actually came out in the original Sin book that we've been covering over the course of the last 3 weeks. There is a significant segment in the Democrat Party that said it's okay that Joe Biden was not in control because as long as there was a cabinet there keeping Trump out and going to do the opposite of whatever Trump would do, that's okay. Democracy be damned. And so I think that ultimately at the end of the day is the point of this article. They don't care necessarily about democracy. All they care about is making sure that Trump's policies and Trump himself cannot get a foothold. Your thoughts?
Oh, no, you're right about that, Todd, because, again, cabinet members are not elected by the people, right? These are people that are installed, just like Kamala Harris. They tried to install her. Hillary Clinton, in essence, was installed over Bernie Sanders by the DNC when they obviously backed Clinton. So, yeah, if the people aren't voting for those in power, that's not democracy. That's the Politburo, and we don't want the Soviet Union here in the United States. That I do know.
Meantime, comedian Bill Maher calling out the left for supporting Hamas. Listen to this.
That's what's so ironic about liberals being so supportive of Hamas is because you're liberals. All the protesters who are protesting in Gaza against Hamas, they've all been killed. I mean, do I have to say anything more than just if it was just that issue, how women are treated? Are you kidding me?
I mean, he's got a point, Joe.
He has a lot of good points lately, I think. It's a reminder, once again, Todd, that Bill Maher is increasingly the voice of reason for those on the left. And supporting Hamas, that's like supporting al-Qaeda. That's like supporting cancer. I mean, this anti-Israel, anti-Semitic sentiment truly is a cancer within the Democratic Party, and it doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon. And this is going to hurt the Democratic Party like it did on November 5th, 2024. It will again in 2026 during the midterms and during the 2028 election when we continue to see images like this, Hamas flags, the killing of that poor couple down in Washington, D.C. last week at the Israeli embassy, and then Representative Ilhan Omar doesn't even condemn it for a very long time. I'm sorry. This is something that's a real problem, and I don't understand where it comes from because there's no logic in it, but here we are.
If there are some, though, Joe, in the Democratic Party who want to go back to the old ways, where you didn't support a terror organization. One of them, former Chicago mayor and Democrat operative Rahm Emanuel. He's considering a run for president in 2028. Boy, it really does seem like he's going to throw his hat in the ring. And he called out his own party during a Wall Street Journal interview. He said, is trying to accomplish something that seems pretty far-fetched, even for him, push his Democrat Party, rooted in the identity politics of the left, to the center. He calls the party's brand toxic and weak and woke, a nod to culture war issues he thinks Democrats have become too often fixated on that President Trump has successfully used against them. Rahm Emanuel once said, quote, never let a crisis go to waste. Is this his moment to take advantage of this abject crisis in his own party?
I don't think it is, Todd, because I remember another mayor of New York City ran for the Democratic nomination in 2020, and that was Michael Bloomberg. And Bloomberg was an excellent mayor of New York. He continued Rudy Giuliani's crime initiatives. The city was clean, it was safe, it was run like a business, and he had 3 terms as mayor here. Then he runs for president in 2020, Bloomberg does, and was eviscerated by the left and was out quite quickly despite spending a lot of money. And by the way, Rahm Emanuel, he left as mayor of Chicago with an approval rating of 18%. His record in Chicago is what it is. And if he's the answer, then this party is in serious trouble from a leadership perspective, because when you're polling at 18% in a blue city like Chicago, that record's going to be thrown back in your face in a hurry by those in the center, and those on the left are not going to embrace a Rahm Emanuel, who will be seen as too moderate and too sane for the AOCs of the world, who probably also will be seeking the Democratic nomination, Todd.
I think you nailed the point about his time as mayor. It did not go as well as Michael Bloomberg or as well as basically almost any other mayor in America. He also nailed another point. During a primary, you have a tendency to go to the extremes in order to win the nomination. If he's saying he's going to want to go to center, you raise a great point. It could be AOC that takes the mantle, because the Democrat Party that's voting in a primary wants the left. They want the left. They don't want the center. Rahm Emanuel pushing to the center. Joe Concha pushing the conversation forward. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Todd, good to see you at the Jersey Shore this weekend. That was fun.
Concha and I were hanging. Love it, brother.
Yes.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.